All right, our next speaker is Jesse Galef, and Jesse has been the Communications Director for the Secular Student Alliance since February of 2010. He previously worked for the American Humanist Association and the Secular Coalition for America. He's acted as a non-theistic spokesperson in print media, radio, and national television, and now he's going to talk to us about being a media pirate. So, Jesse Galef for the SSA.
Thanks. Okay, thanks for having me, everybody. This is about how to be a media pirate. We just learned how to be a campus fundraising ninja. This is about being a pirate because we know they're so much better. The last event was about raising funds for your group, and this is an idea of how to best use the funds, how to get your message out there with or without money. I mean, this is, you might dress up as pirates, you might stand there and hand out flyers, but if you can have somebody else hand out the flyers for you in a newspaper, it'll reach more people, it doesn't use your money, and it looks a lot more professional. It gives credibility to your message that you don't get just by handing it out yourself. So this is how to commandeer the news to your purpose. This is our goal. We want people reading us on the front page. That's our empirical. Jack Sparrow is clearly engrossed in reading about the student movement. I want to thank Liz for that. Her Photoshop skills made that one possible. But Media Pirates Code, more like guidelines than actual rules, but this is how to get the news to report on our issues. The most important thing is to be newsworthy. If you want the news to write about us, we need to be newsworthy. There are some tips on that. You need to target the right outlets. You don't go down, call the guy in Texas who's a sports writer, tell them about your event in Boston. They don't care. You're most likely to get local media and your campus newspaper. Depending on the event, you can get a little bit more attention, perhaps. Have a compelling message. Make it interesting. Make it punchy, in particular. And deliver it properly. That can mean a handful of things that I can get to. But these are on the handout in bullet point form. We're just going to go through some examples here. Being newsworthy. This is the Secular Student Alliance's conference last year. We did the trip to the Creation Museum and got a lot of press because we brought 300 atheists to the Creation Museum, led by P.Z. Myers. And this is an ABC News report we got. And USA Today, we got some other coverage in print and television. But it doesn't have to be nationals. It can be student groups. And this is students at Purdue University, the Society of Non-Theists, dressed up as pirates and preaching the gospel of the flying spaghetti monster. They got attention not just for dressing like pirates, but their student newspaper wrote about them. This was in 2009. Non-theist groups demonstrates against religion, and being newsworthy by being creative in this way got attention. There's a lot of ways to be creative. One of my favorites recently was the University of Illinois put up a stand on Good Friday. They called it "Have a Good Friday Night," handed out condoms, and protested the Catholic Church's stance on HIV/AIDS. Things like that really are key to having the media report on you. They like gimmicks, they like stunts. It's a little bit sensationalist these days, but that's what we need to do to get their attention the most. A good way to be newsworthy is to partner with strange bedfellows. This is true almost no matter what you're doing. Last summer, Sean Faircloth and I, the executive director of the Secular Coalition for America, talked on lobbying. And if you could go into your senator's office with a Baptist and show that atheists and Baptists care about the issue, they're more likely to pay attention. Same thing with the news. This was a different campus for University of Purdue, actually. But the headline of their student paper, Secular Student Alliance and Echo Purdue Calumet, that's a Christian group, create harmonious relationship. And they got more press as time went on. They got another news article for their second forum. Just partnering with a Christian group can get you attention. Offer counterintuitive points of view. This is surprisingly easy for us. Our general point is counterintuitive to people. The idea that you can be good without being religious strikes people as strange. This was got some great press. I mean, look at this. The front page of this is Boise State Arbiter. They were invited to come to a tailgating party. They set up the sign, "Outgrown your imaginary friend." That was their sign. They put it up, walked away. It got taken down by the staff, and when they asked why, they were told they were not allowed to display it. It was too controversial. They called censorship, as you see from the title, Secular Students Call Censorship, and the beautiful front page coverage. They got great attention for this. They got more letters to the editor about it. What a great way to cause a buzz about your group, about your issues, and in a way that you don't even have to be that offensive. You can just state your point of view and people will take notice. And be the first. Same vein. We have an advantage because we're novel. People are surprised we exist. This is Arkansas State. Atheist group trying to form chapter at ASU. They got publicity just by starting a group. This is how easy it can be to be newsworthy. Be yourself, and people care. This was actually on the local news television. They had a poorly transcribed account of it that I took a screenshot here. But so if you plan to be newsworthy, where do you go to get people to pay attention to your newsworthy events and your newsworthy existence? You need to get the right region. Now, local, your campus newspaper is an obvious good place to start. Local newspapers, going out depending on the size and scope of your event. Right audience, you don't want to write to a knitting magazine about your events. And the right beat, same idea. You don't want to contact the wrong reporters. They'll get angry. You want to build a relationship with them to get them to cover you. It's just like with fundraising. You want to build a relationship, cater to their needs. It's a partnership. They want news. You want coverage. You're helping them do their job. They're helping you get publicity. Be friends with them as much as possible. And we can help with this. We can help you find the right contact information. We have a great tool. I believe it's through the American Humanist Association or the Secular Coalition for America. Cision Point. It has a huge database of contact information for reporters. We can sort by type of media. We can sort by area. We can sort by their beat. We can sort by all these things and come up with a list of anywhere from 50 to 100, 200 reporters who would probably be interested. The issue is getting it to them in the right format, which we can get to a little bit later. But please contact me about those, because it's not a resource that's readily available, but it's a service that the Secular Student Alliance wants to provide. We're trying to help you get the publicity, and come to us. We'll do what we can. The message. You want to be creative. You have some general ideas, but what is it you're going to say in the media? You want to have a message and try to stick with it. Some of the press releases that I get sent or that I see groups saying in the media have an idea and it's not very well refined. You don't want to wander off, address different issues. They might seem important at the time. Try to stick to one, possibly 2 points. So you're raising awareness of the Vatican's HIV/AIDS stance. Good. That's your goal. You're going to stick to it. Don't wander off to talk about how the Catholic Church is based on lies. It happens. It's a tempting point. You might want to talk about the Pope's shiny red shoes. It's detracting from your message, and the media is more likely to report on that than what you want spread. Have punchy talking points. Sadly, the media is more and more sensationalist and talking point oriented. So have some short ideas that really encapsulate powerful messages that you want to share. The best way to defeat misinformation is with education. That was from our press release about the Ray Comfort Origin of Science debacle, in which he added his own introduction, attacking Darwin, misrepresenting the theory of evolution. And we set up tables, protests around the country at college campuses about this. And so we want it to be positive. So we're promoting education, and we want to get across that we see this as misinformation. Ending discrimination and protecting children from abuse shouldn't be controversial. Again, positive, shows us in the right frame. That was from our press release about the White House briefing, which I'll be talking about a little bit later in the summit, where we were there to defend children from medical abuse when it's religiously based, and we got attacked for it. Well, not specifically for the issues, but this is a great frame that the religious right criticized us as hate groups, and we can paint this as, look, we're trying to end discrimination, protect children, shouldn't be controversial. It's a nice message we want to get across. And the third one was misinformation like this does real harm. That was from the UIUC press release about the Vatican stance on HIV/AIDS, reminding people why we care. If they think we're atheists and we don't have values, things like this really counter the perception that we're godless heathens who only care about ourselves. There are going to be objections, and you can help refine your message by thinking about what the responses are going to be. And you hear these a lot. I'm sure you've heard them on campus, people asking you, aren't you just anti-religion? Why are you only attacking Christianity? And isn't this disrespectful? You know these are going to come. They're going to be more issue-specific ones as you go. But no, we're pro-science and reason. We're not just anti-religion. We're pro-good things. All opinions should be scrutinized. So no, we're doing Christianity right now because it's prevalent. Yeah, you have a question?
Can you go back to the other slide?
Yeah, sure. So here are the objections that are possible. But why are you only attacking Christianity, and isn't this disrespectful? Well, we respect people is a response, and I'm sure you've addressed these questions yourselves, but try to keep it positive. Think about what message you're getting across and what the media will report. People already have conceptions of what we believe and how we think. Take that into consideration because we're going to be misunderstood. Good? All right. Deliver it properly. So this is, you have your message, you know who you're giving it to, you know it's going to be interesting to the media, but how are you going to do it? You want to follow the guidelines for submission. If you're writing a letter to the editor and you have more words than they want, they're not going to print it. If you don't give them the correct information of your name, group, they won't print it. Press releases are a little bit trickier. I included a lot of information on the back of my handout in the proceedings because it's a specific format for press releases that if they don't get it in a particular way, they're probably not going to read it. Be timely. That's more than just don't miss deadlines. It is hit news while it's hot. When you're doing an event that you think the news will want to report on, you want to tell them about it a little before the event, preferably early in the week, early in the day. And don't wait a week, 2 weeks after something happens to respond. They won't care. You need to jump on the bandwagon while it's hot and get yourself into the story. Be polite. Like I said, you're helping them, they're helping you, but it's not a good way to build a relationship to antagonize reporters. Even if you disagree, even if they're often religious media, be polite. Some of the best press we get is from religious media because we have a sort of symbiotic relationship in which they're very interested in what we're doing, we're very interested in what they're doing, and so Christian press is often a good place to start, but still need to be polite. And this one is not in the handout, but follow up. It means different things for different types of outreach in the media, but for letters to the editor, if you don't get your letter printed, send it again. Send it to a different place. Edit it to address a slightly new topic, but you can usually use a lot of the same talking points in the future, and you've done a lot of the work up front. For press releases, this is one of the key things I learned at the American Humanist Association, that once you send them, reporters get a lot of press releases. After you send it, you make phone calls, follow-up calls to say, not did you get it, but did you have any questions? And I can get to that in a minute. Letters to the editor. So I'm going to be talking about two particular ways to reach out to the media. Letters to the editor are particularly useful for expressing an opinion, disagreeing with something that got said publicly, either by an official or in the newspaper. Honoring anniversaries is a surprisingly good way to get attention. It's a good timing, and they might be interested in sharing that issue. But tips on getting it printed. You want to be responding to a recent controversy. As I said, you don't want to hit it 2 weeks after. You want to use a local angle and statistics. Newspapers really care about community. Yeah?
I'm sorry.
Go back?
Yeah, it's
There you go.
a little fast.
We can make all the PowerPoints available on the website as well. So,
Okay, yeah.
super detailed notes.
And this is one of so there are a couple great things that letters to the editor are particularly useful for. They're not as time-consuming to do, so you can send them out more easily, and it gets your name out there. So if reporters want to know who your group is and they Google you, you come up. They know you're in the news. They know you're established. Same thing with congressmen, actually. When they want to know about your issues and they Google you and they see you've been in the press, they care. A lot of politicians use letters to the editor to see what the community cares about and what the buzz is. So ways to get it, the local angles and statistics, that's what makes community papers more likely to report on it. And speaking from a position of authority, if you can say, I lead a group at this campus with 100 members, they're going to be more likely to care. If you can say that you're leading this event that brought in big-name speakers, that'll get more attention. If you just use your name, they're probably not going to care as much. If you phrase it right, they still might be interested, but this is a pretty important part for getting their attention. And press releases, bread and butter of getting media attention. It's written like the news story you want to see. You do it from your point of view, but objective. You talk about the facts. Any opinion has to come in the form of quotes. Now, you can craft these quotes because you're figuring out what you want to say. So in a newspaper article, you would get, they quote somebody saying, this is outrageous, but you can't say in the print of the press release, it is outrageous that. That's really more opinionated, and you need to have that in nice, short, punchy quotes. Again, you want to time it right. Reporters tend to get their news story ideas earlier in the week and earlier in the day. If you wait too late, they probably won't open it, and that's one of the reasons calls are so important. And again, about the formatting, plain text and proper format are really important. This is the format, and this is why I included it on the back of the handout. They're pretty particular about how you lay out the press release. It's not a letter. It's not something you've probably written before if you haven't done these before, and so I can help you with these. Contact me if you want to do them. I've written a bunch of them and want to help. It's some stuff that you might expect. Contact information, a headline, which you want to be really catchy. Fred Edwards of the American Humanist Association suggests you use the word godless or other action words that catch people's attention. And content, but something you might not know, signify the end with 3 pound signs. It's convention and shows you know what you're doing. If you don't send it that way, they're going to see it as a little bit more amateurish. These are in the back of the handout. I won't cover them particularly, but the follow-up calls are really useful. Reporters get so many press releases, they won't read them all, and a lot of the time, when you make these follow-up calls, not to say, did you get it, because that's considered rude, but did you have any questions? Most of the time, they will say, oh, I haven't seen it, I didn't get it, and that's when you say, great, I'll make sure to send it to you. It's a great story about, and you have a chance to pitch it in person so they'll remember it. This is one of the keys to getting, 1, building the relationship for the future, but 2, making sure it's in their consciousness and more likely to be printed. It's a relationship. They might give you advice. They might say, you know what, I'm really not interested in this. I only do stories about gay rights issues, or I only do stories on more local issues to this city. That's really good to know. You now know something other people don't. You have an edge on getting stories printed through that journalist. Keep notes, pass it on to your other group members in the future, because you have an edge, and that's really useful. That's the brief walkthrough, but we are here to help. You have some ideas. When you have these ideas, you can come to us. We'll help you write the press releases. We'll help you know where to send it out. We have a lot of great information on our website at secularstudents.org/media relations, I believe is the URL. And with advice like this, other PowerPoints, and some of the information I covered here. Or contact me. I'm on the phone, I'm at email, and I've already been helping groups out get press releases out. Thanks for your time. I hope to hear from some of you about your events. I know you do interesting things. Dressing up like pirates is one that does catch attention and is a good way to... You can notify your campus papers about it ahead of time, and they might send somebody out just for the novelty. Get your picture in there. Instead of being noticed by 100 people, it's being noticed by several hundred people, 1,000 people, and it can really be a great asset. So, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Okay. Yeah, Greta.
One note on letters to the editor is to be really short.
Usually, yeah.
I've seen people write comments or whatever, blog posts or whatever, complaining. It's like they didn't publish my letter to the editor, and then they run it, and it's like 500 words long. It's letters.
Couple
to the editor
paragraphs.
are a paragraph, maybe two.
You're right. It's much more likely to when they're short. I was shocked. We were at the American Atheist Convention, and their award for the best letter to the editor printed, they read aloud. I was astounded at how long it was. They do occasionally get printed, but usually they have a maximum limit of 500 is the maximum for a lot of group places, but different from paper to paper. And if you have that many words, it's more likely that you're not being concise. I wish I remembered who said this quote, but somebody sent a long letter and apologized to their friend. I'm sorry for sending you such a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one.
Yeah.
If you have time, you can figure out what your key message is, hit it again, bring in local statistics, that's it. And you can get some attention that way, but if it's too long, you're right. They're not going to pay it as good attention. So. Yeah, Debbie.
Question. I know you said that letters to the editor will carry more weight if you speak as a representative of a campus group.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about school regulations or anything that might forbid students from doing so, or group regulations or anything like that?
I know of nothing like that.
I haven't heard it either, but I always worry.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you don't want your kooky treasurer going out and saying, "We think this," and then you go, "Oh, no, we don't."
Right.
Now it's in print forever.
Right. I guess I see this as a group activity to craft the message and the media outreach. I hope it's not an individual on their own trying to speak for the whole group. The whole idea is to be a spokesman for the group, not your own individual perspective. This is the way for your group to get attention, not an individual to get attention. We don't want that to happen. You're right. One possible thing to keep in mind that you reminded me of, a lot of newspapers don't want you to send your letters to the editor to more than one place. They want to be exclusive with you, which is why if you get rejected, then you send it somewhere else. One of the reasons you need to do it early, because if you're responding to an article in their paper, then yes, you know where to send it. If you're responding to something, say, Colin Powell said, then you can send it to big newspapers, and if you get rejected, go down the list to other people you really want it to be read in. So, Woody.
You talk almost exclusively here about print media.
Mm-hmm.
My one media interaction with you was when you got me on a television show that's run several times, and everybody I know coming out of the woodwork. Slight exaggeration. Several people, my barber, included, have noted my lack and my godlessness as a result of that. I suspect that none of those people would have read that had that been a letter to the editor or even an op-ed.
Right.
So what about electronic and new media?
Television, and you still send out press releases, and that is a great way to get the radio interviews, television interviews. That's how I was on the Young Turks recently. They noticed our press release and were interested. When we give contact information to groups, we include both print for local papers and radio and television networks in the area. They're tougher to get a hold of, but when you do, it really pays off. And